Hello, and welcome to Captivate the Mic with Elaine Williams, where we talk about speaking, confidence, how to have more power on stage and powerful presence and all the things. And I have amazing experts, colleagues, and friends. You are in for such a treat. Today, I am interviewing my dear friend and colleague, John Aslanian. I don't know if I said that correctly. He is such a New Yorker. He has an amazing transformational story, and he has been in the med spa world before there were med spas. And he is so up on all the cutting edge stuff. And he actually talks a lot of young women out of having procedures done because he preaches about inner beauty, and he is all about what is best for each person. And I love his integrity. I love his passion. He's just an outstanding guy. And I felt like it was important to have him on the show because he has a really unique look at things. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I can't wait for you to sit back and listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this episode with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And I'm so glad you're here. Hi, everybody. I am here with my fabulous friend and colleague, John Aslanian. I am so excited to have you on our podcast, John. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually honored when I look at the work that you do and how much you care about people and their traumas and helping them. It's just such an honor that you would choose me to be the avatar, the trusted avatar that would help the women you care about to avoid any sort of complication and avoid those treatments that could hurt them. Because
Yes.
does anyone need another trauma in their life when there's
No.
so many safe things out there? Why would you
Yeah.
even risk getting hurt?
I love that. And I know I've had my own experiences. And so, John, can you just tell people a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I've been in this space for 20 years. And
Wow.
for perspective, the space pretty much didn't exist that long ago. Like the word in the world became more commonplace in 2016 when Cool Sculpting launched because they spent $100 million a year advertising. Yeah, that's like for perspective. You remember General Motors? That's what they used to spend on all their brands put together. So they had this humongous advertising budget, direct to consumer. Like I would talk to a male friend in Tennessee and he's, oh yeah, I just passed the billboard in Tennessee. Is that what you're doing? I'm like, no. I said, but you're like in the industry. That is the industry I'm in. Yeah, I've been in it for 20 years. And for myself, the reason why I feel very empowered is that I try to answer every phone call so the ladies in the office can take care of the patients. So the
Right.
first thing I do is say, tell me what treatments you've done, what worked for you, and what didn't work for you. And then it's funny that same day I get an email saying, "Oh, do you want to buy this $25,000 survey about the aesthetic industry?" And I'm
Oh
like,
my
"No,
gosh.
I have more
No, I
information.
live it. Thank you
Yeah,
very
I have more information than you do. And by the way, you're promoting the most dangerous ones because those are the ones that are trending."
Yes. And since I work with people and I always work from the inside out, and a lot of my female clients are worried about how they look or that they're going to get bullied. And there is tremendous pressure to look your best.
Of course.
John, tell us and I watched that 90s model thing because I grew up with Cindy Crawford and Linda, and it was so fun to watch it with my sister. And then when Linda talked about the cool sculpting and what happened, it was horrifying. If somebody's listening and they've been struggling, who hasn't, tell us about cool sculpting and why it's so dangerous.
Okay, so on their original website, which they said there is a possibility of paradoxical hyperplasia is the term for it. It's when the fat cells multiply like crazy and it forms a hard mass. The worst part about it is that you have to wait a year and then they can remove it surgically. But in Linda Evangelisa's case, you could read the article. It's still online in People magazine. She removed it and it grew back. So she's like permanently disfigured. And she did like here, she did all these different places too. So she sued him for 50 million,
Wow.
rightfully. So yeah, when I speak to new clients and they're not going to come, I get it. And I'm like, listen, if you do nothing else, just don't do cool sculpting.
And I think a lot of people don't, there's so many different people doing procedures like that. And I love it when you told me the story about how there was a 16-year-old girl who called in and you talked her out of it. Tell us about that.
I was answering questions on Quora as well. It's like, I'm 16 years old and my boyfriend doesn't like my stretch marks. What should I do? I'm like, dump his ass. He's a superficial jerk. And then I got that question over and over again. And I said, you know what? If you don't have stretch marks, paint them on. This way it'll be a jerk repeller. This way you don't have to waste 6 months getting to know someone and then find out he's a jerk, because beautiful women are like yourself. They're powerful. To me, that's what I'm attracted to. Powerful, who's smart, vivacious, funny. That's it. That's the short list and the long list. There's nothing else more attractive in a woman.
Oh, thank you, John. It breaks my heart. I posted an old picture of me when I graduated college, and I remember feeling like I was fat and not pretty. And looking at the picture, I was like, I was beautiful. We're so hard on ourselves. So tell us more about what we need to know. Like I feel like you were going to tell us the inside secrets
Oh,
that
absolutely.
nobody else is going to know. So what else do we need to know
Okay, so
about
let's start.
procedures?
Yeah, let's the hook. And what we care about is, what do we want to avoid in life? That's
Right.
really more important. We all want to avoid pain more than get pleasure, right?
I want
And
to be
so
out of court and not in the hospital.
So the number one, stay away from is cool sculpting. And I still check in. I have doctor friends in other parts of the country. And I asked this one guy, I'm like, how often does it happen? He's like, yeah, once a month, no big deal. Allergan pays for the surgery. Like, how could, whatever happened to first do no harm? And the
Once a
crazy,
month,
yeah, I even looked on PubMed, the National Institute of Health. They had a recent study
right?
in 2024. They said it's happening 1 in 50 times. To me, that means it would happen every month at every doctor's office. And I spoke to another doctor just last week, and he said, yeah, I'm not doing it anymore. So it's crazy. Why? And the crazier part about it is there's about 75 to 100 devices that use ultrasound or radio frequency to melt the fat. And guess what the side effect is? Smoother, tighter skin. When cool sculpting does work, it's like taking a bag of ice or water that turned into ice out of your freezer, and now you have a loose, wrinkly bag. So even when
Oh,
it, yeah, I was talking to, again, I've had a million conversations, at 3 conversations a day. That's 1,000 a year. I've had 20,000 conversations. I was talking to this one lady,
wow.
and I was like, how was your cool sculpting? She said, that was great. I said, okay. I said, next time, you might want to do this because you'll get smoother, tighter skin. You would get, and all of a sudden I hear this gasp. She goes, that's when I got the loose skin. So even people who are happy with the treatment, because it's just literally destroying all the fat cells in one little spot. And then I go to the seminar. So I go to the seminar, and the salesman for cool sculpting he goes, let me watch this. He Googles bad school cool sculpting, and it's like a shark bite. It's just this one little spot. So what you're going to do, John, is now you're going to offer 4 in the front and 2 on the side. So now you're going to be charging them for 8 different areas, and you're going to make 12 grand. I'm like, what, for 12 shark bites? It's just dishonest on every single level. And it's so
My
sad that people
my
don't.
friend did it. My friend did it. And when she described how she was like, I have all this bruising, and then they said it's just gonna slough off. It really sounds morbid to me.
And again, you could, like, when you do something like Axillus, it's ultrasound radio frequency. You have a wand, so you go everywhere nice and smoothly, and you're melting the fat and you're smoothing and tightening the skin at the same time. So, hello,
Okay, wait, say the name of that procedure again, please.
it's Exilis.
Okay.
And there's a lot of others out there. There's a
Okay.
lot of ultrasound radio frequency treatments that you can accomplish the same thing. And you can do it handheld, smoother and tighter.
Wow. I
And,
love that.
yeah,
Okay, what else? Let's
well,
tell us more secrets.
while we're at it, let's get into the weeds a teensy bit more. I don't know how much
Okay.
time we have, but
We've got 40 minutes.
okay. So I went to a seminar, and doctors lecturing on something called True Sculpt. And what they do is they put these little pads in spots. Now, you don't have to be a doctor to figure this out with the heat, with the radio frequency. If you're only putting pads in one spot, first of all, you can't even go up to a high enough temperature because you would burn them. With the wand, you just keep moving. I said, second of all, you're gonna have the same problem because you're only going to hit the spots that you put it on. So I know that, and anyone with common sense can figure that out. So I figured, I'll be kind. So I raised my hand and I said, how would you compare this to handheld, where people are constantly moving? And he said, I don't know. I've never operated one of those. I'm thinking to myself, and you're the guy, the doctor that's lecturing here. That's why I'm like, you know what doctors won't tell you. They don't know anything. He's literally standing up there as a doctor with hundreds of people in the audience, delivering a lecture with the slides that they gave him. And he's just reading the slides out because he
Right.
has an MD at the end of his name. He's the expert. He's, excuse me, I don't
And
want to
he's
curse.
getting
He's an
paid.
idiot.
He's getting paid. So,
Yeah.
John, if people don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about? I know you've been in the industry, the cosmetic procedure industry for 20 years. Can you just tell us a little bit more? Because you have such a fascinating story. I know you were in graphics. You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a very popular blog.
Yeah, I should go to hell for what I've done because for 30 years prior to this, no, seriously, I was in graphic arts. So we took the already perfect women, like literally, we did the most beautiful women in the world for Revlon, Victoria's Secret. We took cellulite off Claudia Schiffer's butt when she was 24 years old doing Victoria's Secret ads. I wish women could see this. I always swore that when the company went out of business, I would publish a book of before and afters. And then, of course, I'd have to move to South America because I'd get
Right.
sued by the models, the photographers, the advertising agents.
And now a quick message. Are you an expert in your field and you know you need to be out there more? And maybe you've tried to do video, but you really struggled with it, or you weren't consistent, or you weren't happy with your results. Then we should have a conversation. I love helping people just like you make engaging, connected, short form videos that have people lean in and want more. Look for the link in the show notes and we can set up a call and see if this is the right fit for you. It's time to get yourself out there and stop being the best kept secret. Now, we're back to the show. I want everybody to hear that. Like, that is such an important point. As
Oh,
somebody who grew up, I was bulimic with periods of anorexia. Every woman I know has struggled with weight and body image. One of the top
they're all
supermodels, Claudia Schiffer, had cellulite at age 24. And we're not shaming Claudia at all. We're trying to normalize
she's
it.
human. She's
She's
human.
human. She's still gorgeous, whatever age she is. But I just want the listeners to hear that because I think we did this compare despair thing. I know I used to wait in the
It is.
checkout and
Yeah.
look at all the beautiful, perfect Cosmo covers.
There was not a single woman that did not get retouched, period. Everyone. And matter of fact, who has the worst skin on the planet? The models, because they're constantly putting on tons of makeup.
Yeah, I'm sure they have breakouts and they have to
Oh my
cover
God, their
that.
skin was the worst.
Okay. So you're doing this, and so you're doing this graphic thing, and then you got into this business with your wife, your partners. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It all started with my friend Oz Garcia. He's a nutritionist, and he was writing Redesigning 50. So he was interviewing the top doctors in the world, and there was this it couple. It was a Brazilian and an American surgeon. They were testing the latest and greatest devices. They were doing surgeries in Germany and South America, in New York and LA, and they were the it doctors. So she was working for them for free because she wanted to do a fellowship with the it doctors that were doing the top work. And there were no laser or any of that stuff in any of the medical schools. It didn't exist. So that was the
Wow.
place so she was willing to work for them for free. So I met her there. And when that shut down, it was time for her to open her own practice. I funded it.
Okay.
I've been there for 20 years, but I've gone to Monte Carlo. Poor me. I had to go to Monte Carlo to the Anti-Aging
Oh,
Congress and to see all the late. And that's where we met the people who make Emsculpt, which is very popular now. We met them in 2009. For perspective, Emsculpt was released in 2018. So I've been around before the industry really existed for the most part. As a matter of fact, we brought their first Axillus device in 2009 to New York, and I landed up doing their PR because they didn't even have a marketing team or a sales team in the United States back then. That's
wow.
how nascent it was and how long I've been in the industry.
Okay. And can you just break that down again, the Excel
Oh,
machine you
yeah,
got?
yeah, it's Exilis. And like I said,
Okay.
what we love about it is that it helps melt the fat, and the side effect is smoother, tighter skin. Oh,
So
well.
it's a laser, like if somebody has
Oh,
never,
okay. So let me do this in layman's term. Okay.
thank you.
So, so the whole industry began in 2001 with Thermage, and
Thermage.
nothing else existed. That's 16 years before Cool Sculpting and anything. So for us normal human beings to understand things, we need to make analogies. right? When you put your chicken in the microwave, the skin doesn't brown because it manages the radio frequency, goes right past the surface into the middle. So Thermage brilliantly said, huh, if we can go right past the surface of the skin and get to the middle, what could we do with that? So they go right to the collagen layer. So the beauty of radio frequency is you can bypass the surface. If you tried to get rid of a wrinkle with a laser, you'd burn the heck out of your skin before you ever got anywhere near the collagen layer, right?
Oh,
So with radio frequency, you're bypassing the skin, just like your microwave bypasses the skin of the chicken. You get to the collagen, there's an immediate tightening of the collagen. And then because the collagen's been hit so hard, you actually grow more collagen over the next 3 to 6 months. So Thermage is, we love that. We do a ton of that. That's skin tightening. And that's the one that's been around for about more than 20 years. It was the first device. And then fast forward, the whole industry can be summed up in 3 words. So you have radio frequency, which is what I just explained,
okay.
freezing, which no one should ever do. And then you have muscle stimulation like Emsculpt to make muscles, which also burns fat because you're 20,000 crunches on your abs. You do not have enough glycogen stores for that energy to happen. So you start melting some fat in the area. So that's magical. And that's, by the way, that's a safe one. Yeah.
Okay, wait, all right, slow down again. Just
I'm so sorry.
no, you're so brilliant. I just want people to be able to really absorb this. So the
Yeah.
M sculpting.
Yeah, I get excited and I forget that I'm the fish in the water. So Emsculpt, which is very popular all everywhere, they sell it everywhere now. So Emsculpt, what they did is and again, the company that makes this device, they're a physical therapy company. So they've segued into the aesthetic industry. But so when you stimulate the abs electromagnetically, so it's not like the little stick-ons. This is a $350,000 machine. Electromagnetically, you're stimulating the abs to contract 20,000 times in 30 minutes. Yeah, so you're laying there relatively comfortably, and your abs are just going, it's just, and it's like you're literally got the equivalent of what, I don't even know, 2 years of going to the gym and doing crunches, 20,000. I don't know how long it takes you to do 20,000 crunches. If you're a 17-year-old, you do 1,000 a day. Maybe it's only a month, but we're getting it done in 30 minutes. Some people don't go up to 100%, but it doesn't hurt. It's just, it's a
That
bit
sounds
weird.
amazing, especially if somebody's had back issues. Like it sounds, because I know the stronger your core, the better it is for your back, for everything. Core is everything.
Brilliant.
I resist working it.
You know what's brilliant about that? So everything that happens in this industry, like you just said, common sense explains it all.
Right.
Because a lot of people with back issues are like thrilled to death when they do it. It helps them. But again,
Yeah,
I
I
would,
can't wait. I'm like, I can't wait to come to New York and do your course.
of course.
And John, you've told me, so you've been in this industry for a long time, and I love that you were on the other side of it first, right? That you've been all around. And I know that people fly in from Russia and China and
Yeah,
Europe.
Korea. Yeah.
And what do they say?
Oh,
What?
the act I was in the office last week and because I'm not there, I try to answer the phone so I can have a long conversation with a potential client, answer all their questions because the ladies in the office are taking care of the clients. And they're
Brilliant.
like, no one wants to see a man in the office. I'm like, fine. So I'm here answering phones. No, you're in the office, you're dealing with your stretch marks, your cellulite. Yeah, a lot of women don't want to see men, and that's okay with me. I'm happy answering phones and talking to people and having fun. I just talked to this young lady an hour ago, and I can't help myself. I like people, and she wanted to do the M sculpt, and she's, I'm in New York, I'm in Miami. I said, that's interesting. What do you do? And then we had a whole long conversation, and we ended up for a half hour talking about everything. So I enjoy it, but I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, but
That's
it's
okay.
just
I asked
fun.
you because I know when we speak, you will say, "Oh, so and so just flew in from Russia," and
Oh,
they
yeah,
said,
I'm
blah,
sorry.
blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
So
blah.
I was in the office and I said to Danielle, I said, so this lady who lives in China and is in New York occasionally says that you're the best. She goes, John, she's a doctor. And she said, I'm the best. And she said she doesn't just do the treatment in China, she does it in Paris and China and a bunch of other places. And she said, I only do it with you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, this is just last Tuesday. And I said, how many doctors do you treat? She goes, over 20. She goes, and they always lean on me, like, because what would a doctor know about these machines? You don't
Right.
spend $500,000 and go to medical school to operate a machine that you were not. I could learn how to operate. And if we were the ones with the most experience, then we would be the best. So you want to go to so every once in a while, I think once every 5 years, you get a wise guy. I only want to be treated by the doctor. Like, fine. The doctor comes in and the technician shows the doctor how to turn on the machine. But
Right.
the doctor's not very good at it because they don't do it every day. The thing
I,
about radio frequency is it is very hot to get to an effective temperature. So you have to really, it's like playing 4D chess. When you do the thermage on the face, you're like, oh, look, John has a little loose skin under his chin. Let's save a few extra pulses for here. And everyone's asymmetrical. So the
right.
left side needs a little more than the right side. And his cheekbones are a little thin. So let's not put too many pulses there. So you really got to know what you're doing. And then you got to watch the temperature the whole time. So you want to go to the technician that does it
It
every
does it
day.
every day. I
Yeah.
love it. And you look amazing. And what are you,
Yeah.
98? No, I'm just kidding.
71.
71, but look at that.
Yeah. I didn't
So,
believe
so
it.
people were worried about the turkey neck. Supposedly, when Facebook came out, that became like the top
Mhm.
surgery for people. So they wouldn't have to have surgery. They could just come get the M sculpting.
Yeah. Actually, okay. So now we're going to segue to the face. So on the
Okay.
face, you have thermage. And then the guys who made the M sculpt, which you see all the stupid chicks dancing on TikTok with the thing on their abs, they made something called M face, EMFACE. The EM is electromagnetic. So now we're doing the muscle stimulation on the face. So it's prefixed here, here, and here, right? So if you think about it, it's crazy because why would you go get your face cut apart like Frankenstein, ripped open, get the muscle, cut it, make it a little shorter,
Oh
stitch it back
God.
together, and stitch your face back together? So what about if we could actually just contract those muscles 20,000 times and now the
Tighten it.
muscle has gotten tighter and the muscle, so you instead of doing a facelift, a surgical facelift, you're lifting your face with your own muscles. When they did their FDA approvals, they submit all the paperwork and they said that they were getting around 30% increase in muscle, around the same number for less wrinkles and more collagen because it also has radio frequency as well. So M-Face
Wow.
is safe. You don't have to come to us for that. You can do M-Face pretty much anywhere.
That's
Um,
amazing. And I know I have this woman I don't know well, but she is a facelift coach and she is beautiful. But she said the average facelift is like 25, 30K,
oh,
maybe
easily.
even more. Yeah. And then there's a huge downtime. Yeah. This just sounds amazing, John.
Yeah,
And
I
one
mean,
of the things I love about you is you have a blog and you encourage people to not do it unless they're totally ready because you have a lot of integrity.
yeah, it's I go to the seminars and the doctors, if you took financing, you'd make 30% more money. And in my head, I'm like, and you're going to go to hell because I'm not going to convince you if you can't put a couple grand on your credit card. I'm not going to convince you to go into a 7-year loan for something that is really for discretionary income. I think
Right.
it's evil. I really
Yeah.
do.
I
It's
love
just
it.
wrong on so
So
many
you
different
do,
levels.
so there's the M sculpting, there's the thermage, and then there's M face.
Right.
And if people have questions, they can call you,
Yeah.
right?
And by the way, the M sculpt you can do on other body parts. Like you can do
Okay,
your
tell me more
thighs.
about that.
Yeah, inner thighs, outer thighs, back of thighs, front of thighs. Oh, by the way, here, quick story. Around 10, well, let's not give it the exact year, but one of the Victoria's Secret models who was making 4.5 million that year, she was the highest runway model in the world. They were complaining, how is this woman making 4.5 million a year when she has a jiggly butt? So we landed up doing thermage on her butt, her front of her thighs, back of her thighs, and everything. No names, of course. But
Wow.
yeah, so they all do it. Even the most drop dead gorgeous women in the world, they do this stuff. And the reason why you don't see it now, I think Gwyneth Paltrow actually stumps for thermage. So there's nothing wrong with saying her name. She actually does work with them. When you see all her buddies, it's like me. You just tighten the skin on the face, no surgery, no nothing, and it's a no-brainer.
It makes so much sense, John. I'm a big yoga person and there is yoga for the face. And my teacher would say part of it is wherever we worry, like we hold emotion. And so when you can release and stretch and grow, but most people don't know how to do it. This sounds amazing.
I
Okay, what
agree
else
a
do we need
million
to
percent.
know?
I
What else
agree a
do we
million
need?
percent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I interrupted you.
that's okay. We can edit. So
No, but
what else do you want us to know, John?
the point is that so when people call and they're like, oh yeah, I can't spend thousands of dollars on this or that, it's like, well, you know what? If nothing else, they proved that facial yoga works. Granted, you got to be doing 20,000 of them or
It's a lot,
whatever.
right?
But the fact of the matter is, we only do here and here. There's a lot of different muscles. And honestly, I'm like looking at some of these facial yoga things and saying, gee, maybe I could do maybe a little, maybe I should do the exercise for one of the muscles we're not getting to with the devices we use. So it's really cool that you can look at the world that we do and then replicate it. Yeah, okay, fine. Don't pay us for giving you 20,000 crunches. But now, thank God, they proved with MRIs that it takes actually 4 treatments. It takes 80,000 crunches to get a six pack if you're less than 25% body fat. But at least now we know that. So
Love it. I love it. I just feel like the fact that you are discouraging people if it's not right for them is so refreshing. And what else do people tell us another like insider secret, John?
the only thing I tell everyone is I tell people right to their face. So I don't even know who they are. They want to come to us. They're inquiring about us. I said, listen, use common sense. Look, if you actually type in cosmetic doctor on Yelp in New York, you'll get a 700. And I went and looked at 650 to 700. They're all doctors and or med spas, whatever. So I'm like, you're not, even if they all offer free consults, I don't think you get to see them all. So why don't you start with common sense? Go to their website. People like ourselves, we brag about stuff like, "Ooh, we had this in 2007, this in 2009." Start with the people that have been around for more than 10 or 15 years. And guess what? Out of the 700, you're now down to about 25. Okay. Then common sense number two, make sure they have 12 different technologies because the guys with the M sculpt on the abs, they sold it to everyone. So
Okay.
people that had never in the industry whatsoever, they have the M sculpt, you call them up and they're like, is that the right treatment for you? Of course it is. Of course it is because it's the only one they have. At least if you go to someone that has a bunch of different technologies, they're not like, for example, in the stomach area, I can tell you that we could use M-Tone, we could use Thermage, we could use Axillus, we could use M-Sculpt. So there's 3 or 4 different technologies depending on your degree of fat, loose skin, this, that. And there is, by the way, there is another one that I just wanted to mention. M-Tone uses acoustic wave for cellulite, which is just magical. That's one of the most searched for things. Everyone has cellulite. 90% of women have cellulite, period. And so this is really cool story too, because again, BTL is a physical therapy company. So the women who were coming for physical therapy to heal the muscle more quickly were using acoustic wave. It's like a pounding, it's an acoustic wave. And they were like, wait a minute, my cellulite's disappearing. What the F? And so normally you go in, you pay a bunch of money and nothing happens. They were paying money for physical therapy and their cellulite was disappearing. So cellulite, what happens with cellulite is you have a mesh that's holding back the fat, right? And with hormones and this, that, the other thing, the mesh gets a little loose and the fat pokes through and it looks like cottage cheese. So they're trying to hit the bands for the muscles, but they're also hitting the bands that are tightening up and reducing the cellulite. So we were asked by that company, because we had just brought their first device to the United States in 2009. In 2010, he said, test it out for us. I know you guys do a lot of body treatments. So we brought their acoustic wave machine and we found out that acoustic wave alone was more effective than anything else on the marketplace for cellulite. And then fast forward 2020, they added radio frequency to the acoustic wave and they branded it M-Tone and they said we could be the doctor training facility in New York. So we've had a really wonderful
Wow.
history in this industry. And like I say, you can, on one hand, you can be safe doing a lot of these things anywhere, but then I do get the phone calls from the manufacturer. They're like, you're not giving it to anyone with a pacemaker. I'm like, why would we? It's electromagnetic. You give someone a heart attack with
Right.
the with the M sculpt. And he goes, oh, and then someone else had the blue jean button was touching their skin. They gave them a 3rd-degree burn. So I would also tell women, stay away from the med spas. Go to a
Yes.
doctor's office. The same technology that's at the med spas are in the doctor's offices.
I would
Well,
agree. I have been horribly bruised that lasted for weeks because somebody was in a hurry. And yeah, I was like, oh, that was a good lesson.
yeah,
So,
lots
and
of
John, I
experience.
know that you blog a lot about health and nutrition. So
Yeah, I love
people would
that.
know about that side of you.
Sure, nothing else matters. Steve Jobs, you name it, anyone who's a
Right.
billionaire would happily pay $1 billion to make their cancer go away or whatever happens to them at some point in their life. It's more important. What we do is superficial. I would love nothing better than if someone who left a $5,000 deposit calls me back and says, you know what, I did a course on self-confidence with Elaine, and I want to cancel the procedure. I'm like, great, here's your money back. I'm happy to hear
Right.
it. That's so if I would recommend anything, I would be hang out with you, get your self-confidence up, because otherwise you're just going to be finding something else. When I was in retouching, we would have
Oh,
these
that's a
big
great,
screens.
really brilliant point.
Yeah.
Really brilliant point. If you don't do the inside work, you're gonna keep doing the outside
And
fit.
and it gets so we would sit there with the art director or the creative director, and they would be like, "Ooh, let's get rid of that," and they're like, "Ooh, let's retouch that. Ooh, let's retouch that." The minute you get rid of one thing, you find something
Yeah.
else, and that's what a lot of the women are like that with their cosmetic procedures. And of course, you see it's gone horribly wrong with some of these ridiculously elephant lips and all these
The
crazy
cat
things.
lady, the duck lips, all the
Yeah,
things.
it's not a rewarding path to go down. It's speaking to your clientele, your friends that you care about. Do your facial yoga, put on your sunblock because that's the biggest ager of your skin, assuming you don't smoke cigarettes,
Right?
and just take care of yourself. Drink lots of water, put on sunblock, and you'll never have to see us. And
Right.
do your facial yoga.
But if you want to, so how do people find you? What's the name of your studio? I'm gonna put it in the show notes, but
Yeah, that's okay. Just put it in the show notes. Yeah. And I always try to answer the phones and try to just be helpful because I have to go to sleep at night with me. And I want to go to sleep with a good person.
that's funny. I love that. John, I have to tell you, you have been such a good friend to me during a very challenging year, and you have reminded me about who I truly am. And I so appreciate that. And that's one thing I love about you is you lift everybody up, everybody up. So I just really think you're
Well,
an awesome human being. And I can't wait to come see you again in New York and New Jersey. And if anybody's listening and they have more questions, what is the easiest way to find you?
you could even call me directly on my cell and say
Okay,
you're a friend of Elaine.
I'll put that. No,
Yeah,
say it.
yeah. Okay, good. And then by the way, truth be told, I figured since I had the hour wrong, I went and watched some of your videos again and some ones that I hadn't seen before. You're iconic. You
Oh,
know, the work you do is the most important work in the world, really.
I'm
I mean,
so
other than
excited.
saving babies and
Thank you.
children, but I'm just saying,
I just feel like so many people have lost their voice and their inner power. And when I can help somebody tap back into that and get present to that little kid that was excited about life and self-expressed, and that is just like the best feeling in the world.
yeah. And
Well,
check your
thank you.
hormones too, because
Oh, great. What do you have to say about that? Yeah, you know what, John, I want you to mention your blog because that's another way for people to get to know and trust you before they call, I think.
okay, sure, yeah, it's freehealthandbeautysecrets.com because I love this. Like first, if anyone is upset about anything, first you have to check your hormones. Because if your hormones are off, your life's going to suck. And then go to Elaine and up level your confidence. And you think you
Right.
need an aesthetic treatment, then go for it. You want to hear the great, this is could be a B-roll, but I ought to tell you this once. I think I told the
Tell me.
story. Did I tell you
Okay.
my Clomid story?
Tell
I think
me.
I did. I started taking testosterone in 2010. So my doctor said, if you take testosterone, your body shuts down and you'll have to take testosterone forever. He goes, try this innocent little pill. It's Clomid. Some of your female friends might be familiar with it. It's to make more hormones. So it tells your brain to make more hormones. So all the machinery in your body is still functioning. So I start taking this Clomid and within 2 or 3 days, I'm sitting there next to my wife and I'm like, she's looking at me funny. I'm like, who said that? And then I'm like, oh no, she's looking at you weird. She doesn't like you. And then there's two little 12-year-old girls having a conversation in my brain saying all this stupid shit. And I'm like, what the
What is happening?
I thought I was going insane. Fortunately, I was friendly with the doctor. I called him up at 11 o'clock at night. I said, what is going on? There's like a chick flick going on in my head. And the two little girls are going back and forth saying, she's looking at you funny. She doesn't like you anymore. Ah. And I was like, what's going on? He started laughing. He said, you're making too much estrogen because the pill tells your brain to make more hormones. I said, is it going to go away? Because if it doesn't go away, I will kill
I can't
myself.
handle this. Right.
I can't handle it. I said, so you're telling me that women feel this way at least one day a month? Like every man should be required to take this pill because I would never give shit to a woman ever again in my life, having just experienced that for one night of my life. It was the most miserable experience in the world. If this is what too much estrogen feels like, the whole world should know what that feels like so that they talk about men, oh, I'm going to wear a pregnant suit or this. Screw that. Take a pill that
Take
makes
your
a lot
extra
of
estrogen.
estrogen.
That's
And
fascinating and
yeah,
hilarious
I
and
felt
kind
like
of
I
scary.
had 85 cups of coffee and I was overly sensitive. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
worst feeling in the world.
I know I get like that when I haven't been to enough AA meetings. I start taking things too personally and I'm overly sensitive and I'm in my head. So I'm like, all right, girl, meditate, yoga, meeting, get back, get
But you
centered.
got to know your hormones. And for women, by the way, there's a proper level of testosterone because we all have everything. Men has progesterone, estrogen, estradiol. We have everything. And women have a little bit of testosterone. And if their testosterone is too low, they will not have a sex drive.
Right.
Insurance companies charge a fortune if make sure your company charges, pays for it, but you should have all your hormones tested. I do it like
Yes.
twice a year because they'll pay for it.
I love it. All right. Any parting thoughts, John, as we wrap up? Any?
No, just love yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I just think you're so handsome and brilliant and funny and kind. And thank you for lifting me up. And thank you for lifting so many other people up. And thanks for being a fabulous guest.
Thank you for trusting me.
Okay. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. See you next week.